Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Jung from Inha University, South Korea. I'm very much delighted to invited to this wonderful seminar, and for me, it's very great opportunity to think about what is the Thai centrality and what is the meaning of the economic corridor. So, personally, for me, it was very valuable experience to me, and I just found that I'm the last presenter. I'm not sure it's a good one or the bad one, but think the one of the important thing is to keep the time right. So I will let you go home in the right time. So don't worry about it. And so I want to talk about the Thailand and South Korea economic corridor. And when I was given this topic, what is the most important aspect when we think about the economic corridor between two countries? Because the economic corridor is not just about the physical corridor. It's not just about the trade. It's not just about the diplomatic relationship. So it's very much comprehensive and very much complex concepts. But there are some aspects we can think more of when it comes to the specific countries. So when it comes to South Korea and Thailand's economic corridor, what are the most important things, and what will be the more important things in the future? And so I want to talk about that. For more than the 60 years, Thailand and South Korea have quietly built a fabric of the trusts from the 1950s to 2020s. That was built based upon the diplomatic relationship between two countries, and also different events, and also the economic cooperation between two countries. And I think that long friendship is kind of the real engine for the Thailand-South Korea economic corridor. And the other, I think that there was a kind of significant moment for the economic corridor between two countries. That was the South Korea's new southern policy that pushed the Seoul to look south, and especially ASEAN countries, and also it singled out Thailand as a key partner in the ASEAN countries. And the other part we have to look into more is the Thailand's Eastern Economic Corridor. I'm not sure how many of you are involved in EEC, but I can say that EEC was very prominent and very much was kind of the singularity to the economic corridor between two countries. So I'm gonna put these two things together and talk about the economic corridor. So this is the roadmap of my presentation. I want to first talk about the historical developments of the Thai-South Korea economic corridor and how the trade relationship is made. And I should talk about the investments, cooperation, and case studies of collaboration, and what are the challenges and obstacles in the corridor. And then I want to talk about the future prospects and the recommendation for building more robust economic corridor for two countries. And our story really begins with the coal hills of the Korean Peninsula in the 1950s, and when more than 10,000 Thai soldiers that fought under the UN flag, and that sacrifice sealed the bonds between that still commands the respect in Seoul today, and that built the formal diplomatic relationship between two countries that followed in the 1958. But during the 1960s and 70s, both economies were finding their own the feet. The Thailand shipping rice and rubber nose, and the Korea sending tiny batches of the radios and sewing machine to the south. And then came the 1980 booms. The Korea industrialized at very fast the speed. Thailand earned its Tiger Cube stripes with 13% growth in 1988. And that was in both countries experienced very fast growth in industrialization and in its economies. And entering the 2000s, the regional institutions like the ASEAN plus 3 and the APEC encouraged deeper trade and diplomatic ties between two countries. And key milestone, it was the ASEAN-Korean the free trade agreement, which was done in 2006, and that was followed by the 2012 strategic partnership (MOU), which broadened the cooperation between across economic, scientific, and political and socio-cultural domains. And as I said, the singularity movement was a new Southern policy in 2017, and this marks a major reorientation in Korea's regional strategy, placing the ASEAN at the heart of its external engagement. Before that, Korea only focused on the relationship with United States and also with China, but that was the very much the critical moment for Korea, and not just for Korea, but also for ASEAN countries in their relationship. And with this shift, I can say that Thailand emerged as a central partner for Korea, not only as a large economy within the ASEAN, but also geographic and industrial gateway to the Mekong sub-region. And the launch of the Thailand's EEC, which was quite recently done, and at the same time that created the unprecedented synergy. The 2019 dedicated MOU between KOTRA, which is one of Korea trade agency, and Thailand EEC office. They were signed in 2019, and that laid the foundation for the modern Thailand-South Korea economic corridor. From that point, the bilateral cooperation began to focus on the high-tech industry integration, innovation-driven investments, and the regional supply chain connectivity. So Thailand-South Korea economic corridor is no longer the concept, but it became a concrete pathway, the linking policies, factories, supply chain, and the trade across two countries. Back in 1990s, two countries swap only a few $billion worth of goods each year. By 2017, that figure was notching US dollar in $11.7 billion, despite a pandemic peaked season at a record of the US $16,005 billion in 2022, and that is to roughly US $14.7 billion last year as a global economy cooled down. And the trade relationship is quite much asymmetric. The Thailand sells roughly the $6 billion and in refined fuels, sugar, rubber, and occasionally the microchip, and buys about the 10 billion in high-tech gear, semiconductor, coated steel, precision machinery, the finished cars from Korea. On paper, deficit is for Bangkok, but in practice, it's also giant technology transfer, as I would say. Every crate of the South Korea machine tools landing on the Lam Chabang, that helps the Thai factory runs and move up the value chain. And the trade is the engine driving the Thailand and Korea economic corridor, and that delivered the tangible benefit on both sides. So when we compare with the ASEAN countries, other ASEAN countries, the Korea's trade with Vietnam, that is about the $86 billion, which is far higher than the $16.5 billion with Thailand. But we can say, we also saw the rise of the Vietnam in the Japan's in Thailand relationship. But this also shows that while the Thailand-Korea corridor could be more stronger, and there's plenty of the room to grow for both countries. But here's the key points. So this Thai-Korea corridor creates a win-win growth cycle. As Thailand grows, the demands for the Korean the capital goods increases, and as Korea grows, it requires more raw materials and food products from Thailand. So I think their economies, the Korea economies and the Thailand economies, they feed into each other, and their success. So they have the mutual growth pattern, and they fuel rising trade and rising growth, and they reinforce each other for the mutual growth. And the trade is not the only thing to build the economic corridor between South Korea and the Thailand. But there's I think the Thailand's EEC, the Eastern Economic Corridor, will change the game. The stretching across Chonburi, Rayong, and the EEC is the laboratory for the high-tech industry. So the custom clearances are measured in hours, not weeks. The foreign ownership caps are relaxed, and every highway seems to end a deep sea port and R&D park. The Korean companies saw the opportunity, and a decade ago you could count them on one hand. Today, more than 400 are operating in Thailand, and 6+ new Korean-led projects have been approved inside the EEC since the 2019 Kotra EEC agreement. The flagship is the Hyundai's the billion baht investment in electric car vehicle assembly plants. And by 2026, the Ioniq, which is one of the car made by Hyundai, the line will roll off the Thai assembly lines. And this will position Thailand as ASEAN's the EV, the hub of the ASEAN countries, and they will give Hyundai tariff-free access to the Thailand market. The EEC's the tailored policies have made a key institution anchor of the economic corridor for Korean firms. So it's not just about the market entry, but also it's about the participating in shaping the Thailand's future industrial base. And every new facility means the Korean process know-how infuses into the Thai supply chain, and while Thai engineers can upgrade their skills on cutting-edge robotics and also battery management. The EEC is now evolving from a single zone into a true ecosystem. And nothing illustrates that better than the brand new Korean Thai industrial estate in Chonburi. The sign-off last March by Thailand's Industrial Estate Authority and Korea LH, which is one of the public developing country. The 6 billion baht project is designed as a K-town for industry. And for Thailand's, that clustering means jobs and day-to-day technology transfer. And for Korea, it guarantees resilience and tariff-free the manufacturing base right inside the ASEAN market. But the corridor's footprint stretches well beyond the Thailand's eastern seaboard. Up in the Mekong Basin, the Seoul is quietly financing bridges, feeder roads, and vocational colleges. For Bangkok, through the AC Max framework, make sure to those projects be seamlessly into the regional logistics plans. But despite this progress, there are several obstacles remaining. The first, the Thailand's trade deficit and its limited agricultural market access to Korea. And Korea has very high level of the sanitary regulation that causes the friction in the trade relationship between two countries. In other way, the Korean companies that face Thai tariffs on the finished vehicles, that those would be the main obstacles in trade imbalance. The second one is that two countries, even though the South Korea and Thai have very strong economic relationship, they haven't had any bilateral free trade agreements yet. So the ASEAN-Korea FTA and the new the regional cooperation agreements give us a solid floor, but they are too broad to tackle the sensitive stuff, agricultural quotas, automotive tariff, and digital trade rules. So that's why negotiators launched, they need to launch talks on bilateral economic partnership agreements the last year. The third one, the investment climates. They have the very uncertain the landscape. So in Thailand, the 49% of cap on the foreign ownership and multi-agency permitting and lingering worries about the intellectual property enforcement, and they can nudge Korean firms toward the other countries like Vietnam and Indonesia in ASEAN countries. So Thai entrepreneurs in Seoul, they meet their own hurdles in Korea. Korea has very high local content rules, and the language barriers is very the one of difficulty for the Thai companies. Competitive procurement standards, the overly all of that, which periodic political turbulence in both countries, you can you can get a layer of the uncertainty, and that's became an obstacle for two countries. And the Thailand is hotly contested area when it comes to the trade, especially for Korea and China and Japan. Those three countries are competing very harshly and very harshly in Thailand's market. Particularly in the infrastructure and EV the sectors, that both countries, all of three countries want to lead the EV development, which requires a lot of the careful coordination to avoid harshly the rivalry. And there's no direct physical connectivity between Thailand and South Korea. We don't have the land connection between two countries. So the physical connectivity is one of big issue we should address. So that kind of situation, physical distance as logistical costs. The shipping could be slow and air freight could be very expensive. So I think the Thai should need some more focus on the investments in the infrastructure, or a port infrastructure especially, to facilitate the supply chain and the logistics from Thailand to Korea. The Korean investors, they love Thailand, Thai hospitality, but they also note the shortage of the robotic engineers and semiconductor engineers and also technicians. I think the Thailand is racing to fix that STEM scholarship and EEC training centers, but it can't happen overnight. So I think the one of improvement should be made for the upgrading the human capital, especially in the field of the high-tech industries. So as we look ahead, I think the several developments can strengthen the Thailand's South Korea economic corridor. And I would say the EEC is a very excellent policy. It became a very strong magnet for Korean capital. And the Korean companies, the EEC, it feels very similar. They very familiar with what EEC is promoting to. So it offered the same government-driven cluster incentives supported by the governments. And actually, because many Korean government, the Korean governments, they promoted the policies very similar to EEC. So a lot of the cities in like Ulsan or Daegu and the Gumi, all of those cities are the products of the industrial cluster policies in Korea. So in that sense, I would say the EEC is not just the local industrial policies, but also expansion of the global supply chain and the economic corridors for Thai economy. So I think the future focus areas include EVs and advanced electronics, biotech, and the digital industries, especially in the EEC area. We may also see the Korean chip makers setting up the R&D facilities and testing facilities in Thailand, helping the move beyond the just assembly and the supporting local skills. Now the Bangkok and Seoul are now negotiating the new economic partnership agreements, the EPA, so which could be signed probably in this year, next year. I think if it is finalized, it would go beyond the current agreements between two countries by liberalizing some sectors, especially agriculture services and investments. And it also could address the new areas like digital trade and supply chains. And I think that could be a game changer, given that we do not have the FTA between two countries. The infrastructure connectivity could be more enhanced. Imagine the direct flights and the dedicated shipping corridors from the different the Thai cities to different the Korean cities. The containers rolling by roads to Vietnamese ports to streaming straight for Korea. Those direct links along with the land sea freight loop that trucks containers across Indochina could cut transit time by days. So the Hyundai Globus is now expanding at the enlarged Lam Chabang terminal, and you have the logistics spine that finally matches the ambition of the EC corridor. The Thailand does not want to be just an assembly line, but it wants to be design the chips and go inside the gadgets. The Korea semiconductor leaders are quietly scouting the sites for R&D facilities and testing labs in the EC. So all of these only works if the skill basis keeps up. So the two governments are ramping up the STEM scholarship, professor exchanges, and joint university labs. So I think Thai graduate students writing, developing the semiconductor in Suwon, which is located. The Samsung headquarters is located at. So I want to stop here. So now two governments are edging toward the economic partnership, and we are building very, very robust economic corridor. And I think this corridor will do more to enrich the Bangkok and Seoul together, and it will link the Thailand, the South Korea, in a way that two countries grow and have a mutual relationship in their economic growth. Thank you so much for your attention.